This is the object ball, this is the cue ball, and this is the tip of the cue. To play a legal shot, the tip of the cue must strike the white cue ball once and only once, and the cue ball must make first contact with the ball on. Once you've achieved this objective and all the balls have stopped rolling, it's the end of your turn and the beginning of your opponent's. If during your turn you manage to legally pocket a red, then you score 1 point for every red ball pocketed, and your turn doesn't end as you get to play the next shot as well. This is said to be the beginning of a break. Striking the white in the centre means it'll follow the same path as your cue. So if you imagine striking through the centre of the cue ball to where you want to hit on the object ball, then this is exactly where the cue ball will go.
9.
As we've already seen, once you pot a red, it's your turn again. But after you pot a red, you must then play a colour. A colour is any ball on the table that's not a red or the cue ball, and they have values of 2 for the yellow, 3 for the green, 4 for the brown, 5 for the blue, 6 for the pink, and 7 for the black, which we're currently playing. Unlike the reds that remain in the pockets after they've been potted, the colours are respotted. Each one of the 6 colours has its own designated spot in these positions. If a colour's spot is covered, then it's replaced on the highest spot available. So as the black and pink spot are both occupied here, the highest available is the blue spot. However, if all spots are occupied, then the colour is replaced as close as possible to its spot without touching another ball in a direct line with the top cushion. After the last of the 15 reds has been potted, a player has one more free choice of colour before then having to take on the colours in sequence. This is from lowest through to highest in the same order we saw before, so that's yellow all the way through to the black, until there are no more balls on the table to be played and the game ends. If a shot on the last 6 colours results in a player not pocketing a ball, then their opponent begins their turn on the same lowest value colour. If they pocket the ball, then the sequence continues until they miss or the frame ends. Players use spin to help control the cue ball during a break. Striking the cue ball above centre helps it roll through, striking it slightly below centre causes it to stun, and if you strike the cue ball really low, you can even make it spin backwards. The trick to playing all of these shots well with a lot of spin is a long follow through after you strike the white. This generates more spin and helps you play the shot as intended. And you can see here how we're using spin to get in better position on the next ball and make it more likely we're going to pot that shot. A foul shot ends your turn and gives your opponent points and a possible advantage. There are so many fouls I don't have time to read them all out, so here are just the basic ones. Fouls include touching any of the balls even if they don't move, except for the cue ball, but even then it can only be done with the tip of your cue and only once per turn. You must also strike the cue ball, not push it. Failing to hit the ball on is a foul, as is hitting another ball first. It's also a foul if the cue ball enters the pocket at any stage, or you pot a ball that isn't the ball on, even if you strike the correct ball first. And if you pot a red, nominate the yellow and hit the brown first, this is a foul as you've hit the wrong ball. Now, if you're playing a red, you are allowed to pot 2 reds on the same shot. This actually scores you 2 points. However, you're not allowed to pot 2 colours on the same shot. This is a foul. All fouls have a minimum penalty of 4 points to your opponent, but higher value colours have more. Blue is a 5-point penalty, pink a 6-point penalty, and the black is a 7-point penalty. However, these penalty points don't stack. Because there's a 5 and 7-point penalty here, you just choose the highest as 7. After a foul, your opponent can make you play the next shot if they don't like the look of it. Or if they're snookered on every single ball, they have the option of choosing a free ball. In this case, the brown will be played instead of a red, so a colour is played next. After this, the frame just continues as normal.
Foul. Miss.
The miss rule exists to stop a player gaining advantage from a foul. I'm in a really difficult position here, but get out of it with only giving away 4 points without the miss rule. However, if the referee calls foul and a miss, which they would do from this situation, I have to play the shot again until I hit it. This would leave my opponent with a more straightforward chance where they can score a lot more than just the 4 points. But it does seem harsh at times, which is why it isn't played in some of the lower amateur levels of the game. To begin a frame of snooker, all the colours are positioned on their spots as shown here. The 15 reds are positioned in a triangle directly behind the pink spot, as close as they can possibly get without touching. The game can then begin after it's decided which player is going to break off. The player breaking off must position the cue ball inside the D and usually attempts to play a defensive shot, getting the cue ball as far away as possible from the reds and trying not to leave the reds in an easily pottable position. I'll let Ronnie O'Sullivan explain how he usually plays this shot.
It's not my favourite shot, but I've learnt to sort of find a way to kind of keep myself in the game, you know. So for me, it's just down on it, just below centre, right hand side, aiming at the last red, half ball, positive strike.
That even sounded positive, didn't it? I mean,
yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I mean that's a decent break.
If you're interested in seeing all 12 hours of Ronnie O'Sullivan's snooker coaching called the Rocket Method, then click the link at the top of the screen. And don't forget the promo code BREAK20, which currently gets you a massive 36% discount. To win a frame of snooker, you need to have more points than your opponent after the black ball has been potted. It doesn't matter who pots the black as long as you have the most points. A foul on the final black also ends the frame, and the player with the most points is declared the winner. Because you can only score 7 points on the final black, if you're 8 or more in front after potting the pink, you also win the game, and you can play the final black if you choose to complete your break. In the event of a tie, the black ball is respotted for what is known as a respotted black. The players then draw lots to see who plays the first shot out of the D. This is never a desirable shot, so a player will almost always put their opponent in to play this first shot. From here, the game continues until a player fouls on the black and therefore loses it, or pots the black to win the game. Another common way to win a frame is by getting so far ahead of your opponent that there aren't enough points left on the table to win the game, at which point they may concede. However, if I'm in a situation like this where I'm 36 points behind you, and if I pot the red and black followed by all the colours, I only score 35, I can do what's called playing for snookers, where I attempt to get penalty points to top up my total to a position where I can win the frame. By snookering you, I give you a difficult shot where you have to hit the red cushion first, and as you've just missed it here, you give me 4 penalty points and a chance to win the frame. The red followed by blue will give me enough points with all the colours to win that frame by a single point if I can take it all out. And this is known as winning a frame on snookers. The basic technique. Approach the table with your cue directly above the line you want the cue ball to take. Then think about pulling your cue straight back on this line and then pushing it through on this line. Except don't play the shot so quickly. Get yourself settled in position on the shot and even consider a few practice feathers before striking the cue ball. Your cue needs to rest and slide on your bridge hand, so to make a bridge you need to place your hand flat on the table, raise your knuckles up and bring your thumb in tight. This is vital because this is where your cue rests, and your thumb dropping down like this is a common way to miss a shot. You can then lower your bridge hand to hit down on the white or raise it up to strike higher. This allows you to keep your cue more parallel to the table and helps you play the shot in a smoother way. In the position where the tip of your cue is touching the cue ball, it can help to have your cue arm pointing directly towards the ground at a 90-degree angle. This gives even space for when you pull your cue back and when you push it through. And it helps if the forearm is roughly in line with the path of the shot. But these are just the basics, and there's far more to it than this. So if you want to find out more about snooker and get yourself on the map like Norman from Lee in the United Kingdom, which is just about in there, then these videos explain the snooker technique in a lot more detail. And remember, don't just watch play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to visit the website and use the promo code BREAK20 for a big discount on the Rocket method. See you later.